Hi YouTube world, this is Bubba. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about just your seed starting mix and a very easy way to do it. Just bear with me if there's interruptions. I'm just going to keep going. I feel like this is take number 350. I mean, the dogs have been barking. The chickens have been squawking. They think I'm up to something in here, and I guess they want to come in. And teenagers have just been popping in and out, so I'm just going to put them on here next time. We're just going to keep going. I'm not great at editing right now. I'm learning, but I wanted to get this out there just because I've been trying to bring you along with me as I garden and just kind of show you step by step, week by week, what we're doing. So the first week we talked about soil sampling and amending our soil, getting it ready for the garden. The second week we talked about just what kind of seeds work best for, you know, depending on what kind of garden you want to have, and just some different places to order seeds. And we also went into ways to store the seeds so they're easy to find. And we talked about 2 ways to plant. One was planting by the last frost date, and the other one was planting by the moon. So if you missed any of these, you can go back to previous videos, or you can just go to my blog. It's one like the number 1, blessedbubba.com. And the first post also tells you a little bit about why I'm calling this one Blessed Bubba and why I'm tickled to be called Bubba. Also, I have an Instagram account, oneblessedbubba.com, and there is a Facebook page. So I'm learning as I go, and hopefully my older kids will help me with the editing. The hat is made by Evie, my daughter, so I like to wear her hats while it's cold in some of the different videos. So, without further ado, we're going to talk about how to make your own seed starter. Now, you want to put your seeds in seed starter and not gardening soil, not potting soil or a potting mix. This is because those things are more dense and your roots are going to need a lightweight soil just to grow down into. Also, your plant is not going to need any extra nutrients until its first set of true leaves pop out. It has everything that it needs in that tiny little seed until it gets to that point. And then at that point, you're going to want to add like some fertilizer if it's still in the seed starter mix, or you may want to go ahead and transfer it into the garden if it's time, or into a potting soil mix. But for right now, you want to get started with your seed starter. The seed starter is important because it's mainly sterile. The pH is pretty close to 7. It may be just slightly a little more acidic just because of one of the ingredients we're using that I'll tell you about in a minute, and there's ways to fix that if you need to. And like I said, it's lightweight and those roots are just going to grow down, and that's what they need. So what I like to do is I just like to make a little bit at a time. I make my own just because I use so much of it with all my seeds. It's just cheaper than just buying bags and bags of the seed starter soil at the store. So what I use is this little 2-gallon tub. I do about this much at a time. And I'm just going to take you with me. Also, what I like to use is, this is the moss that I use. It's sphagnum peat moss. That bag costs about, I don't know, let's say, I think it cost about, it was under $9 at Lowe's. I think it was next to nothing. I could probably get it cheaper than that at my hardware store. Also, you're going to need 2 more things. They're much easier to lift. So you're going to need vermiculite and you're going to need perlite. Okay? These are extremely lightweight. The peat moss is not, so he's going to stay over there. Now, perlite is actually volcanic glass that has been heated to extreme heats to where it will pop like popcorn. And so that's what you have. It's just this white stuff that looks like popcorn. And it is good because it is sterile and it really absorbs the water and it allows for drainage. So this is what makes that a lightweight soil. Vermiculite is a mineral. It's just a natural mineral that has been heated to where it pops like popcorn, and it is super lightweight and it absorbs really well. So this is something that you're going to want in your garden. Now the peat moss is slightly acidic, so if you want to, you can just throw a handful of garden lime in there when you're mixing this up. I've never needed to, but if you want yours to be a perfectly neutral pH, you just throw a handful of garden lime in there. And all this can be found at your local store. I actually could not find this at Lowe's, but when I went to my local hardware store, I was able to find everything, and it was much cheaper. So, now all that you're going to do is you're going to want just a container. It can be any container. I'm not measuring in cups or anything. I'm measuring in equal parts. So, super easy. You're going to need 2 parts moss, 1 part perlite, and 1 part vermiculite. So, I'm going to get this going for you, and we're going to mix it up. So we have 1 part perlite, and here you can see it. Now, you want to be careful with this because it will make a dust, and when it does that, it might aggravate you if you breathe it in. 1 part vermiculite, and then you want to put in 2 parts of the moss. Okay, so 1 part moss, and this peat moss will last forever, and I use this in my potting mix that I transfer my seedlings into after they have their true leaves if my garden isn't ready yet, and that's something that we can kind of go into in another post too, and I'll try and leave that recipe as well. So there's my 2 parts. Okay, and then you're just going to moisten it with a little bit of water just so it'll retain that moisture. You don't want it to be like a mud pie. You just want it to be moist. And you'll just keep adding that and playing around in it until it's just kind of like the consistency of a wet sand. You know, when you're building a sandcastle, and that consistency it has to be for your sandcastle to hold together. That's what you're going to want. You just want to mix it completely, and then if you need to add more water down the road, you can, and just mix it up as needed. It's not going to go bad. I mean, the perlite and the vermiculite will last forever. So a chicken has made its way into the greenhouse. You hear Henny Penny? All right, so I have it. It will go in my pots in a little bit, and I'll kind of show you in another video, just in a very quick way that I just pot my seeds. But that's it. 1 part of each, and you're ready to go. Now, cost-wise, I can usually get a good organic seed starter mix, or just a basic seed starter mix for like $7, I guess, on average. So, I mean, it's, you know, it's pretty much worth I guess it's worth the money, because I can make this for about $4 for that same amount in that bag. So it saves me a lot, especially when, you know, I start making a lot of it. So like $9 for that big, huge cube of peat moss. And you can buy smaller ones too, but I just use a lot, so I have that big cube. And then those bags were about $6 each, the perlite and the vermiculite. Guess I'm saying that right. If not, correct me. You can also add different things in here. Everybody has their own recipe, but for basic gardeners, for frugal gardening, this is a good one. It's basic. It's going to grow your plants. So happy gardening. Feel free to leave comments down below. I like your comments. and subscribe if you want to follow along with me. Come visit the blog. I go into detail a little bit more there. So happy gardening and be blessed.